Dear customers, today we're on our third day of our Digital Competence Days. We've seen manual production, we've seen automatic production. Today we see our ultimate machine, the Smart Factory. The Smart Factory makes products all by itself, on its own, 24 hours per day, 7 days per week. Let's start with the software. Hello Thomas, hello Torsten.
Hello Gerrit.
Hello,
We've seen manual production, we've seen automatic production, we've seen software, we've seen services, and now you're going to show us the Smart Factory, right?
Yes.
Okay.
We're going to show the Smart Factory, but everybody thinks on Smart Factory on the fully automated production. But it's far more a digitalization of the entire company.
Okay.
So you maybe know the digitalization is all around us every day. You know that example from the farmer shops that you have? In recent times you had all the money to throw in when you just buy potatoes or eggs. You always had the fitting coins to pay?
Yes. No, we don't.
Okay. I always had the 100 francs note and it wasn't fitting then. So now you have that QR code where you just can pay with your mobile and it's easy. It's also easier for the farmer. They don't need to empty the money. They don't lose the money or whatever. So it's a small example for the digitalization.
Digital farmers.
Digital farmers. And now we show you digital shop floors.
Okay.
That's the vision of Bystronic for the Smart Factory.
Let's go. Okay.
Okay. But at first, I think we're going to show you a small movie where we are just showing the challenges of the digitalization.
Yes, absolutely. It shows the challenges, but also, let's say, the way how we would like to solve it and what we would like to offer to our customers. So let's start with a short movie.
Okay.
What's up, Eric?
Ugh, I'm stuck. Business is booming, but production just can't keep up. Bottlenecks, chaotic shop floor, no communication between manufacturers.
That was me a few years ago. Let's face it, I don't like change, but I saw how fast the industry was changing around me, and I didn't want to get left behind.
It's not change I'm afraid of. I just don't know where to start. I'm overwhelmed with business operations, and my customers are demanding shorter delivery times. I really need help. That's why I asked you here.
Let me show you.
Bystronic's Smart Factory combines end-to-end solutions and service for any size business. This smart ecosystem lets you make real-time changes, keeping you in control, connecting even third-party systems.
I now adapt quickly to changing environments, accelerating my business, and delight my customers. In fact, I've really increased my business performance and have the data I need.
Our implementation methodology and proven systems enable you to accelerate operations on request. Being more agile to adapt to customers' needs gives you market advantage over the competition.
But setting that up must be a nightmare.
No, the best part. Bystronic walked me through my business transformation journey step by step. They gave me the tools I needed and were there to answer any questions.
Like a real partner.
Exactly.
Visit our website or speak to your local Bystronic representative to find out how we can accelerate your sheet metal business, adapting quickly in order to shorten your lead time, taking your profits to the next level and beyond.
That's the Smart Factory revision from Bystronic.
Okay, got it. So it's much more than just connecting machine and adding some software on the business level to manage the entire system. It's basically really addressing the entire workflow of our customers, right?
Actually, that's it. So usually a lot of people think that the Smart Factory is just the fully automated production. For sure, that's part of it, where you need to connect all the machines. But not only the Bystronic machines, also third-party machines that are on the shop floors itself, like painting, welding, stamping, whatever there is on the shop floor.
Okay.
But it's also the management side, where you need to connect the software, the digital processes, and the services and the support to the shop floor and to the production of the company.
Okay, that means we really have to connect the machine level with the data level to provide really the customer values by the end of the day.
Yes, sure.
Okay, what are then typical values or benefits we can provide to our customers with that Smart Factory?
One benefit is that we have a seamless data integration. So we can connect the machine level, where we get the overview of the actual machine status, the effectiveness of the machines, up to the planning level of the shop floor, up to the really business level, where I see which orders are coming in and which invoices I have to send out with each product. And the next advantage would be the agility, because I have the seamless data flow, I have all the information at hand, I can react in an agile way to changing environments. So defects of the machine, people getting sick, nowadays in Corona times, that happens from time to time, so you need to react, you need to adapt your production. And for sure you need to adapt when you don't get the raw material, metal prices rising, or when you get new customer offers.
Okay, so you have now mentioned several times there is this material flow. I think the most of us are fully aware about that because we have all these machines in the shop floor and you can really touch it and you see the material flow from the raw material to the bent or cutted parts. But you have also mentioned data flow. Can you explain a little bit more about that?
Yeah, Smart Factory in general needs to handle two things. One thing is the material flow. As you said, you can grab that. You see the raw material coming to the machine and you see the partly produced parts and you can move them from one process step to the next. But the material flow is much more abstract, so we need to cover that. And we talked in the recent days a lot about the manual and the automated production, and now we want to talk about the integrated production, or the end-to-end production process, where we have the offer starting from the offer, the customer request when you need to create a price for an offer, to the end of the production, throughout the different process steps that you have on the shop floor, till you send the invoice to your customer. We want to cover that complete process. And for all these processes, we need software to handle that, to connect the machines on the one side and to connect all the other planning processes in a company.
Okay, if I got you right, if we during our journey with our customers as a solution provider, from standalone machine to the automated production cell to a fully integrated end-to-end solutions, data becomes more and more and more important, and this makes basically then the whole installation smart, right? So
that's it.
So when we talk a lot about data, that automatically involves a lot of software, right?
For sure.
And this is exactly what we would like to introduce also. This is our new software suite.
Yes. But before we introduce the software suite, I just would like to discuss the topic what that software needs to handle.
Okay.
So we have a smart factory. We have an open solution in the smart factory, a digital solution. So we need to connect all the different machine types, all the different existing types of software. And of course, we need to adapt that vision also to all the different customers, because no customer is equal, as you know. Everybody does things a bit different. So that software needs to be modular, and it needs to cover all the different processes from end to end. So, but the main two things it needs to cover is the material flow and the data flow.
And these two things are also then customer specific, right? As you said, there is no standard smart factory out of the box. This has to be tailored exactly to the customer's environment and the requirements.
Definitely. So the material flow is always different. You have maybe a manual production or an automated production, or mixtures of both. Typically, this is the case in a lot of productions. You have prototypes and example pieces that are made in a manual way, in an express way, and the serial production then is made in a maybe more automated way.
Okay.
So this needs to be combined. And this needs to be combined by the data flow. Because with a data flow, you just know, okay, when can I insert that production step? You know when a production step is ready and which orders are taking place. But this data flow is much more difficult to handle and to grab. You cannot grab it like the material, and if the software is sometimes even running in the cloud, so you don't even know where it is actually. So let's have a closer look at that software. And we look at that end-to-end process. So from the offer and the first quote to the customer and the offer I get, to the production planning, when I need to break that down to the different production steps in the production, also to get the material, the raw material, and then to the delivery as a last step, when I'm going to send the material, the ready product to my customer, and of course the invoice I also want to send to the customer.
Means it is clearly our ambition to support our customers along the entire value chain of their sheet metal business.
Definitely.
fantastic. So can we get more details about that?
Sure. We will solve that with the Biosoft software suite. So this is our modular software and our modular approach how to solve that data flow and to connect it to the material flow. It's a bit like set up like Lego bricks.
Okay.
You know that Lego bricks
Yeah,
that you can connect?
That
Sure.
sounds familiar.
Definitely. So we will start with the first brick. That's all the different machines you have on the shop floor. So you have laser cutting machines, bending machines. You have an automation for that. What else do we have?
If I got you right, this is not only valid for Bystronic machines, right? We
For
can
sure.
also integrate existing third-party machines or even new third-party machines.
Exactly. And that's the case here. So we have that open architecture and flexible system.
But
When-
then they have to talk to each other and
Definitely.
exchange the data, right?
We do this with Biosoft Cell Control. This is one of our first Lego bricks that we introduce here. With that, we can control the job execution and coordinate the machines in between. That the laser cutting is talking to the bending machine so that they know where the sorted parts are to bend. And the next step would be also to program the machines. Therefore, we use Biosoft CAM. So we can use all the features that we have on the machine to program it in an efficient way.
Okay. So, but now we have the machines, they are talking to each other, we can do automated workflows, more or less exactly as we have already seen in the automated production session. But now
Exactly.
everything comes together to really get it smart and realize a smart factory. So there are some additional layers needed.
Yeah, there's one important layer. This is the Biosoft shop floor. With Biosoft shop floor, you can make the fine planning of your production. You can combine all the different process steps you need. And more important, you get the feedback status from the machines. Independent of your manual or an automated production, you see which process step is already done. You see where your part is. You can track and trace that part.
Okay, means we can also provide then the transparency to our customer what happens on the shop floor so they can do, let's say, the right decisions based on real data and real facts they got almost in real time from the machines.
Exactly. And we don't stop at the shop floor level. We go one step further, and this is Biosoft Business. So here we have our digital operation platform, which is based on Microsoft Active Solution. And it's not only like an ERP system where we can connect to the customer offers, to the quotes, and to the invoices and get the overview of what we have. But it's not a full-blown ERP solution. It can be used for that, but typically our customers have their own ERP solution, and nobody wants to exchange an ERP, right?
So it's depending on the customer situation, it's very modular. So you can select exactly the modules you need to cover basically the entire workflow from the business level to the planning level and to the machine level.
For sure.
Okay.
Yeah. Now I have one brick left. What really makes a system smart? What do you think?
It should get smarter and smarter and smarter. So it should have all the data available to basically prove that the planning was done in the right way or the calculation was done in the right way. So there should be also a feedback path.
Exactly. Feedback is a good word. So we have the Biosoft Insight. We put a frame around all that bricks and collect the data from all the machines. So we can, but not only from the machines. We have the machines that we integrate into the Insight, the shop floor, the CAM, the business. From all these modules, we get the data out. Today, a lot of data is maybe already available, but it's somewhere stored in an Excel sheet or written somewhere on paper. It's not visible and connected. And with Biosoft Insight, we connect this data and make it visible and readable for humans. And with that, we get that feedback loop. We can see how efficient our machines are, and we can see how efficient our process works. We, for example, can see that we always wait in front of the bending machines with our different processes and jobs to be done. So maybe we can think on how to improve our processes, our work, or whatever I have in the organization.
That's pretty impressive, I have to say. So I really like that overview where we see the different levels from the machine to the cells, to the shop floor planning, to the business levels, to the business systems that are usually integrated in ERPs, stuff like that, and also the analyzing tool to really get full transparency. What happens? Can you explain it a little bit more about the different elements?
Yes, let's have a closer look. So at first we have in that Biosoft Insight, we have the Biosoft CAD. I think that module is quite always necessary when you need to import 3D CAD data from your customers. You need to import these data into your system just to see which parts you need to produce, how they are put together, what needs to be bended, what cutted, and what has different process steps. And the next step would be the Biosoft CAM, where we program all the features of our software and use it for tube cutting, for plane cutting, metal sheet cutting, and for bending. And for sure also the automation parts like sorting and the robots.
So after these two steps, we should have all the inside. It's produced on that type of machines, also how it is programmed. Do we have also already transparency about it takes 2 minutes to bend it or 3 minutes to cut it?
Yes, we have the estimation from the Biosoft CAM, how long the bending time, the sorting time, all that machine programming is done in the end.
Okay, based on that input, now we can do either, let's say, the quoting or the planning then.
Exactly. And the planning we do then, and before the planning, we also have the Biosoft Cell Control, where we can combine the job execution and the control of the automated architecture, of the automated production, but in an open architecture, where we also can connect third-party machines.
Okay, because a lot of our customers, they do not only cutting process or bending process, they add other production processes, right?
Yeah, that's the reality on all the shop floors of our customers. Okay. And on the next, then now we come to the planning. Here we can combine the different customer orders or the different orders I have in my production. I can plan them, plan over the different process steps, not limited to cutting and bending for sure as well. And I can track and trace the material here.
Okay.
The next step would be the Biosoft Business. And here I get the backbone of my data, of my business data. I can do the business planning. I see the quotes. I see the invoices. I can look already into the CAD data and make a rough planning of the production. And I put all that together with a Biosoft Insight. And on the dashboards of the Biosoft Insight, I'm getting all the insights from the data. I get the feedback loop to improve my processes.
The planning or even react in a different way on new requests to a different style of quotes and stuff like that.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay, so it's a pretty comprehensive ecosystem, right? Sounds pretty amazing, but on one hand also it's not an easy thing to design then together with the customer. Okay, what is the best possible solution for that specific customer? How do we do that?
That's a good question. We typically do that in a solution project. So we have now that vision from Biosoft or from the smart factory where we want to digitalize all the environment and combine it for sure also with the automation solution to cover that into a tailored solution for our customers. And now we typically start a project when we go to the customer and say, okay, what would that solution be? How would we do that? And the first thing that we do typically is we go to the customer and listen to him.
That is basically then when my department got involved in the customer projects, right?
Definitely. So
okay.
Your team is going there, right?
Yes, absolutely. We start then with the pre-project phase where we basically listen to our customers. Visit the customers, check out what is the current situation, what kind of machines are already there, what's their future strategy and vision, what's their growth ambition, basically identify really what is the final target state we want to reach together with the customer, what's the starting point, and develop basically a plan how to come from A to B together with the customer.
Do you have a specific methodology to get that done? Also to look at the digital part of the customer where you need to add the digital tools?
Yes, absolutely. As we have already discussed a little bit earlier in our discussion here, to transform, let's say, a bunch of machine into a solution, it's basically all about the material flow and the data flow. And a lot of our customers and also our engineers, they are really well experienced in the material flow. So they have a lot of experience there. What's the volume of raw material that has to be processed, what time or what type of bending parts has to be produced, and stuff like that. But even more important is, okay, how do we have to orchestrate all the different cells with the data flow to support the desired material flow in the best possible way? And due to the fact that is a little bit more abstract than the material flow, we have developed together with our daughter company, Curago, the digital maturity model. And we apply that model basically in all these smart factory projects. So we go there and interview a lot of people. We analyze where they need different types of data, where is it needed, in what stage of the processes, and we create basically an overview about their digital maturity and discuss with the customer what are reasonable steps to reach their final target state of their digitalization. So for that, we use the digital maturity model.
So you look completely to the company. It's not specific parts. You just look as it in a whole, right? You look
yes,
to
it's pretty
processes and people and
holistic
everything.
approach. Absolutely. We analyze the different production processes, but also this involves, let's say, logistics or the quality assurance and stuff like that. And then finally, we agreed what is in scope and what is out scope. And that is basically the foundation or the starting point of the solution design.
Okay. And what comes next?
If we have agreed on the solution design, we prepare, of course, the presentation, show that to our customer, and if we have done a good job and identified the right bottlenecks and can provide the desired level of customer values to the project, we got the deal, and then the real work starts. So next phase is then basically the preparation phase, where we sit together again with the customer, we agree on the project team, because these are usually interdisciplinary projects. So we have the guys from the software team involved, we have cutting experts involved, bending experts involved. So we basically form the project team on the Bystronic side, but we also sit together with the project team on the customer side. Basically really clear the starting point of the project. Means we have a project plan, we are fully aware about the project scope, and we do a kickoff. So everybody that is involved in the project is fully aware what has to be delivered, until when, and what are the important milestones.
Okay.
So next phase would then be the realization phase. So we start to ship the sub-modules like the cutting machines, the bending machines, the automation systems, and they get put in place according the layout, according the desired material flow. We start to ramp them up and bring them in operation, subsystem by subsystem. So by the end of that phase, all the subsystems should be fully installed and also up and running.
And then you just switch on and go to production?
Yeah, that's not that easy, because we have to commission them first and glue them together to the solution. So we are basically integrate then all the machines to realize the seamless material flow that was designed together with the customer, and to make sure that the software is working in the right way and orchestrates the data flow as it has to be to provide the real smart factory. But even after the commission, the job is not fully done, because then we start with the go-live session. So the go-live session means the customer starts to use his new solution and starts to run the production. But due to the fact that this is a new solution, the people are trained, but they are not experts after 1 or 2 weeks. We still stay on site and support the customer during the ramp-up phase. This is a really, really important stage to make sure that the customer gets the best value out of his investments. So after the go-live phase, the production is fully up and running. All open points are cleared. The documentation is available. The customer operators are trained. So we are ready to hand it over to our maintenance and after-sales support teams. And this is also really, really important, just to make sure that the entire solution does not only work on day one, it has to work perfectly along the entire product life cycle of that solution. So we have dedicated service and maintenance teams that support the customer in case of any kinds of incidents.
You said before that you have maybe also different stages in the project workflow.
Absolutely.
So after the first step, do we check the next step again? Do we improve that, adapt that if required?
Yes. This is also important as a lot of surrounding conditions are changing, and we get a lot of insights also during the ramp-up phase of the production. So it's a constant review of the solution design, and we discuss that with the customer. Do we have to adapt something, or are we still perfectly on track? So it's quite an agile approach, absolutely.
Okay, but that sounds now a bit theoretically. Do you have an example for me?
Yes. We have a a customer example which is a pretty common scenario. So a lot of our customers, as we have seen also in one of the earlier slides, they do basically a whole transformation. They are using standalone machines. Then to increase their efficiency, they start to automate things. And a lot of them, they have now the vision to install a smart factory. So this is a pretty common scenario. We had a customer that was using a standalone laser cutting machine for 2 years. It was really happy with the cutting performance, but now the market is changing, and he's very optimistic when it comes to business growth. So he has started to think to increase his production capacity and also his growth ambition. So he has approached us with clear customer requirements. So he wants to have a scalable and future-proof solution. So if he's doing now investments, he wants to be sure that they provide value to him over the next few years, and also that the solution can grow with his needs depending on the business growth. He wants to achieve flexibility, but also competitiveness for various batch sizes, small batch sizes, large batch sizes. So it's a matter of what should be automized and what is still a manual production step.
Okay.
And
so he also wants to add automation.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Add automation to maximize the utilization of the cutting machines. Sure. And by the end of the day, to really establish a smart end-to-end solution, he wants to integrate everything and also add the software to get all the insights, to do future decisions based on real data and on a very detailed planning on his shop floor. So that was basically the starting point. And as we have seen in our project overview with the 5 different phases, we started to do a tailor-made solution design for that customer based on our products. We defined together with the customer, and by using the digital maturity model, the data and the material flow. And we developed a project plan with 3 phases and also different layout plans for these 3 phases. So we presented that to the customer, and then basically we started to roll it out.
What was that 3 phases?
So phase 1, for example, was we added an automation to the standalone laser. That was clearly with the goal just to increase the efficiency of that laser cutting machine by optimizing the cycle time. Until then, we did not have an automated load-unload system. So by adding this automation system, we basically boost the efficiency of these laser cutting machines. And the second focus was, this was just a preparation step for the phase 2 and 3. Yeah. So in the phase 2, that was quite a significant step. We added an automated warehouse to the existing laser cutting machine and added a second cutting machine to expand the cutting capacity of that customer. And then we had basically 2 cells connected to the machines. So that was also the time where we had to add the cell control, because these 2 cells, they have to talk to each other to make sure that they order the right raw material for the right cell, for example. And we have now 2 cutting cells. One is with manual sorting, one is with automated sorting, to address the requirement of the customer to be able to process small and large batch sizes in the most effective way.
Okay. And now he's able to completely digitalize also the workflow and plan the production?
Absolutely. Adding these software modules would have been even possible in phase 1. But for that customer, we decided to also grow the software ecosystem with the constant growth of the overall installation. And in phase 3, we have added the business software to really increase the level of digitalization and the complete business workflow. And on the shop floor level, we will add in a few months a bending cell also connected to the automated warehouse to realize a seamless material flow from the raw material stored in the storage to a fully bent part produced by these cells.
So that was a really step-by-step approach, increasing the production capacity and also integrating and rolling out a digital workflow. Is it always like that? In a project?
It's very flexible. As we have also highlighted, we have a high level of modularization on the hardware side, but also on the software side. So for example, in this scenario we just have presented, it would have been also possible to add the complete software portfolio into phase 1. So it would also be possible to create quotes just for the single laser which was added with the automation system. So it is not necessary to add the software at the very end. So both hardware and software, they can be added very flexible due to the high level of modularization. As already told in the earlier stage of the presentation, there is for sure not a smart factory that is out of the box and fits to every customer. So it's depending very much on the situation, and that is what we are doing in the pre-project phase with the digital maturity model to define the future solution of the data flow, and also with all these investigations about production volume, coated parts, analysis of bent parts to create the material flow. So it's very modular and therefore unique.
So we really have that Lego bricks. So
Yes.
we have that Lego bricks on the machine side, but as well on the software side. And we also can digitalize the manual production, the automated production, and the fully automated smart factory when it comes to reality.
Absolutely. And by doing that, every customer gets his very own smart factory.
So there's a full-fledged of digital smart factory visions, depending just on the customer needs and visions, right?
Absolutely.
Okay. Can I see that now?
Yes.
Is it available?
Yes, it is available. We have our own small smart factory here. We call it the Smart Factory Test Center, where an interdisciplinary team basically turns our smart factory vision into reality. So we have installed a cutting cell, bending cell, storage, third-party system, everything monitored with our new software suite. So you are more than welcome to have a look at it.
Okay, so let's have a look and let's go.
Okay.
Hello, Thomas. Hello, Torsten.
Hello, Gerrit.
Welcome to our Smart Factory Test Center in Oberbiep. Thomas is going to tell us what we're doing here. Thank you, Thomas.
Welcome, Gerrit. So here in the Smart Factory Test Center in Oberbiep, a cross-functional team is working and testing the different implementations of the Smart Factory. So they are turning our Bystronic Smart Factory vision into reality. Together with Torsten and some other colleagues, we will show you the entire installation here, from the storage to the cutting cell, bending cell, and also the integration of third-party systems. As you have already heard, we quite often talk about material flow and data flow. So we will first start with the material flow. So Torsten, see you later as soon as we have reached the data flow topic again.
Okay, see you later. Thank you.
Welcome back, and let's show us some details about the material flow solutions that we can provide in our smart factory. For that, I would like to welcome a real expert in automation material flow solutions. Welcome, Alessandro.
Thank you, Thomas. Thank you, and warm welcome to everyone also from my side. My name is Alessandro Corvetti, and I'm one of the product managers for solutions and software here at Bystronic.
Welcome here, Alessandro. Great to have you here.
Thank you.
So can you guide us a little bit around the whole installation and show us some real examples of material flow solutions?
Absolutely, and I think that we should start considering the real logic sequence of the production flow of a sheet metal factory, so with the raw material management.
Okay, then let's check out the storage.
Let's go. Here we are at our cutting cell. This is an example of one of our cutting cell. The components in this case are B-Star Fiber 12 kilowatt, a B-Transmodular load and load system, and a B-Sort single part unloading system.
Nice and pretty impressive. Can you explain it a little bit more how these cutting cell contribute to the end-to-end solution of the smart factory?
Absolutely. Here, cutting plans are executed automatically by the system. So the right raw material is coming right from the storage to the laser shuttle table. Then cut parts are unloaded or sorted in different ways with different flows possibilities. And then the skeleton is also disposed back to the storage.
If I would ask you, what are the 3 key benefits we can provide with such a cutting cell to our customers?
I think that if we consider the context of the smart factory, I would say, first of all, the full integration with our Biosoft software suite of programs. Second, the user-friendliness of the system, so that it's very easy to be used by operators. And third, but not least, the fact that the high modularity level of the system allows us to create different configurations to match the needs of our customer and in case to grow with them.
So again, modularity seems to be really important to cover all the different requirements of our customers, right?
Correct. Especially in a smart factory environment, modularity is a key factor, and because we have to remember that there's not a unique model of smart factory that can fit for all of our customers.
Okay, but this, I assume, this is not only applicable to the cutting cell, right? So can you show us also some examples how we have integrated the bending cell?
Correct, sure.
Okay.
So here we have also a bending cell connected to our storage. And this allows us to start from the raw material and to reach directly the final bent parts in our process.
I see. But do we have also here different possibilities of material flows for input and output?
Absolutely, yes. The bending robot can either pick parts from the storage or from position here on the floor. At the same time, parts, once they have been bent, they can be positioned in different locations. So we can achieve different production flows, and this is fundamental. We have to remember that this is also possible thanks to our software suite that is able to manage all these elements together in the proper way.
So means also this bending cell is talking then to our Biosoft software suite.
Correct, exactly. And this allows us also to be open and to have an open architecture that can allow us to integrate machines and systems from third parties, from different vendors.
Okay, you mean this concept is not only applicable to our own machines, like the bending machines and the cutting machines and automation, we can also integrate third-party machines, correct?
Correct, and we have some examples here, so we can check them together.
Great.
In our smart factory, we are taking advantage also of AGVs in order to optimize the material flow process. These allow us also to connect systems from third parties, systems that are not connected directly to the storage. Here we have, for example, a welding cell from Close, one of our partners. AGVs are taking parts, sorted parts from the cutting cells and driving them here to the welding cell. The welding cell is also connected directly to the bending cell. So, as you can see, we have a seamless, automated,
and fully tailored material flow according to customer requirements and needs. Really nice. So thank you, Alessandro, very much for all this explanation about the almost countless possibilities of realizing efficient, fully integrated and automated material flow. Let's focus now on the software that orchestrates everything. So we move now on to the data flow and provide you some deeper insights into the details there. You have seen now some examples of material flows that we are able to realize in our smart factory. Let's focus now on the software that is orchestrating, planning, and optimizing all these things, the Biosoft software suite. So welcome back, Thorsten. Can you provide us some more insights on the software and show us some example how the software works together with the installation we just have seen?
Yes, sure. Here in our smart factory, I've just seen that material flow, and now we focus again on the data flow and the software that we use to build that up and to digitalize all the complete workflows. So maybe just as a reminder, we had that picture with the Lego bricks and the different modules out of that Biosoft software. So you've seen now the material flow with the machines and the cell control that coordinate that material flow. And now I would like to focus on the higher levels. I would start a typical workflow where we just start an order creation, a Biosoft business, and then deploy that through the shop floor to see how that could be planned inside the production.
So you show us basically the entire workflow to produce the assembly we just have seen in our demonstration in the first part.
Correct. We just show the complete workflow end to end.
Perfectly.
From the offer to the production to the delivery. So we will start at first in Biosoft Business. Here we just start with an overview, and I would like to start with creating a new sales order. Just imagine we get a new request from a customer, so we just create a new sales order. We just type in or select a customer, maybe it's an already existing one. I just select that one. The requested delivery date I can fill in for sure, and a lot of other information around a typical order. And most important, I just can select a part. So maybe just select the part that is also being produced here. So we see that part already here, we see that. We also can import 3D files, step files for that part. We already see a price calculation. So based on the material and the cutting time and production time, we get a price calculation here. We also can have a look at that part and see the different assemblies. We can track that, and we can see the different parts out of that and how these are being produced. So we see all that information regarding that part. So a lot of information is already available.
So that simplifies and speed up the quotation process a lot.
Definitely.
Great.
And the data is already connected, so if I'm going back here, I already can jump into the process and create production orders and so on. But now let's jump to the point where we already can plan the production and plan the overview. So I will go here to the planning. So there we have a Gantt diagram where we'll see all the different production steps and the plans that we have. And we can zoom therein. For example, we can zoom here to a date where we have a lot of production plans for that machine. We see the different machine types we have on our shop floor. So everything is already visible.
So these are now all the jobs that have to be processed via the Bystar fiber, which we have seen in the cutting cell.
Yeah, for example. So we already can see, okay, maybe now there's a lot of jobs on that Bystar. Maybe we just drag one to the Bysprint machine just to have a better allocation of the machines.
Good.
Well, this is just the rough planning here. And now we would like to jump to the Biosoft shop floor, because there we do the detailed planning. In Biosoft shop floor, it is not only linked to the orders that we have for the customer, but it's mainly also related to the parts that need to be produced and to the assemblies that need to be made. So we get an overview of the parts, of the single parts that need to be produced, bended, welded, whatever, in the different production steps. And then we also get the information if the state of the part is fine. For example, some bending sequences need to be reprogrammed, or some machine parameters are not fitting. So we directly see that here and can adapt that in the Biosoft CAM for the programming. But let's skip that away. Let's have a look at the production planning, which is, I think, more interesting here. So we have the workload overview, and there we see the production planning for exactly for what we have here maybe. We have different machines here available, and we see different production steps. So we also see a production here for the welding, and we see what are the preconditions for that welding. So we need to have cutted parts, and we need to have bended parts.
As we have seen during our walkthrough, that the parts have to be cut and transported by the HEV, and some of them have to be bent and transported via the conveyor to the welding cell, right?
Sure. We see the same thing here in the software, and we can plan and adjust that.
So this really shows how material flow and data flow are connected.
Definitely. So one important step is now missing, and this is the feedback loop. When we just talk on the Biosoft Insight to get insights from all that different data that we have. Therefore, we go to the Biosoft Insight, and here we have different consoles where we just can focus on the work floor, or on the shop floor, or also on the business side. But let's maybe just start with the work center console, where we get an overview of all the machines and the actual status of the machines that we can see. So we see some machines are idle, some are working. So these are the machines from here and from the demo center, so we get some live information here. And maybe let's go to some cutting. So we get some machine data, we get an overview on the health status, on the productivity, and the average power that is used, informations like that. And
so the customer can really see what's going on in the shop floor in real time.
That's
so
in real time.
The customer do not have to guess what's going on there and how the machines are working, or are they running or not. They really know it real time.
That's it. And you get an overview also on the historical data. For example, you see here the current jobs and the idle and waiting time. And you can change maybe also to different other screens where you see waiting time, errors time, offline time of the machines. So for example, you see here that maybe at night the system was offline, and you can filter that and show different things. And you can add different filters here as well. Or maybe here you see all the history data, maybe from a year or from a month, and can select the different machines and the different shifts. So all that is configurable so that you get your insights on your data.
And to getting better and better and improve the entire end-to-end workflow, right?
Definitely, definitely. That's the aim of the Insight, to connect all the data that is available in the company, which maybe was already there in an Excel sheet but not connected.
That's pretty impressive. And all these modules are part of our new Biosoft software suite, correct?
This is all part of our Biosoft software suite.
So thank you very much also for these insights and all your explanations here. Thank you very much, Thorsten.
You're welcome, Thomas.
Dear customers, thank you for joining us at our Smart Factory Test Center.
We have seen how we can integrate different working cells and how we can achieve different material flows possibilities.
We have also seen how we could orchestrate all that material flow with our digital software solution, the Biosoft software suite.
The entire Global Solutions Group is ready for your smart factory, for your very own vision. Wherever you are, please get in contact with us, and with our solution experts, we can support you along the entire project workflow, from designing the solution to implementing and the complete after-sales service packages. Thank you very much for your attentions. Hope to see you soon.
Hello, Andrea.
Hello, Garrett. How are you?
I'm fine. I've heard that you can make nitrogen and air.
Yes, this is right. Today, I am going to show you what you can achieve with the right partner by your side. And you know why?
No, I don't know why.
Well, coming together is a beginning. Staying together is progress. But working together, Garrett, is a success. Bystronic and Airco are working together in order to provide integrated solutions to our customers. Today, I am going to show our customers an overview of our most important products for the laser cutting application. And these are our nitrogen generator and our mixed gas. Now let's talk how the system is built. The compact system is built on a platform, and this makes transportation and installation very easy. It can be moved by a forklift truck, and once it is in its final position, you can just connect it to the electricity, to the compressed air, and to the hydrogen. Et voila! Now you can produce your own nitrogen on site. Our small footprint of our system is unique. A platform of 2 meters 20 on 2 meters 20 can produce up to 40 cubic meters per hour. And this is incomparable in the industry. But of course, this is just an example. We can offer our customers various system sizes depending on their needs. At the same time, we are very efficient. For every cubic meter of nitrogen that we are producing, only 2.9 cubic meters of compressed air are to be used. So you can save the nitrogen costs in comparison to your gas supplier. Maybe you are wondering how is this possible? Well, this is very simple with our NCAD system. The NCAD system is working in 2 stages. The first stage, we generate nitrogen with a purity of 3.0. And in the second stage, with our NCAD, we can produce the nitrogen with the purity of up to 6.0. Now that we learned how to do the nitrogen, what are we doing with it after that? We are going to store it in our Airco Infinite bundles at 300 bar. Using the bundles in order to store your nitrogen gives you following advantages. First of all, you can adjust your storage capacity according to the customer's specific consumption, and at the same time, you can later on add additional bundles to your system, so you are very flexible. Because we want our customers to focus on their business, we have developed the Airco Infinitetouch, the newest control interface for their business. It just does all the work. You may be wondering, how is this even possible? Well, once the individual parameters are set up in the initial process, the system runs automatically. If you want to produce your nitrogen overnight, when there is no other process requiring compressed air, or maybe during the day when the sun is shining and you can use the available energy in your photovoltaic system, there is no problem. Our Airco Infinitetouch will control and monitor the system. You as a customer, you will only be notified via email or text message if there is anything that requires your attention. And maybe you were wondering, why the green power? Well, this is very simple. You have the following advantages with our Airco Infinitetouch and our nitrogen system. Eliminating the truck deliveries for the nitrogen, and at the same time using the photovoltaic system will allow you to reduce the carbon footprint and at the same time save a lot of costs. And now that we know how we can achieve such a good nitrogen, let us talk about the design, my favorite part. Well, with our Airco Infinite box, we are introducing you to the latest evolution of our nitrogen generators. An already established PSAL technology together with the Airco Infinitetouch in an all-new design. Now let's talk about our mixed gas solution. Bystronic is constantly developing the cutting process in order to push the limits of the efficiency and at the same time to improve the cutting result. Here at the Competence Days, you can see the mixed gas, and also at the 15 kilowatt fiber laser, you can see an example of cutting. Using mixed gas instead of pure nitrogen is providing you significant advantages when cutting mild steel. For example, first of all, you have less burr, which means it reduces or even eliminates the after treatment. 10 to 20% faster cutting, which of course saves costs, time, and resources. Time is money. And third of all, you can have a more robust cutting process, even when you are having different types of steel or different qualities. Our Airco mixed gas is the perfect solution for your mixed gas application.
Dear customers, in the last 3 days, we saw manual production, we saw automatic production, and we saw a full smart factory.
We hope you enjoyed our first edition of the Digital Competence Days.
Thanks for joining us. Hope to see you again.
Bystronic is a leading global supplier of system solutions for the sheet metal industry. We provide laser cutting systems, bending systems, automation, software solutions, and comprehensive services.
Sorry, I need a sip. Ah.
He's good, no?
Mummy,
Let's say he has a confident voice, yes.
Shall we? Client happy?
Client happy, but please get to the end of the line this time and add a little verve.
The verve is there. You may not be able to hear it right now, but you will in post-production.
In post, we are in...
We offer worldwide presence and competence. We speak your language and understand your needs. We are here for you.
Sorry, we are here for you. I mean, I hear the words, but I'm not getting anything from them, you know?
Could you please just say the lines?
May I?
Please.
It means that we offer much more than just a machine. We support our customers with flexible financing models, training, maintenance, a long-term spare parts service, phone hotlines and online support. And we also operate local sales and support offices in many, many countries.
Yes. Now you see, now it's
Coming alive. We should be saying this.
It is more text, though, so we will have to renegotiate with my agent.
Can't you just record it and we'll look at it later?
Well, I'd love to, but my agent would kill me.
If only. Fine then, continue with the script.
Right you are. Where were we?
At customer service and post-sales services, would you believe?
Rolling.
We don't simply develop machines that cut or bend sheet metal. No, our customers need flexible systems for ever-changing order positions and batch sizes. Automation to achieve top productivity with integrated systems and the right software that cross-links everything. Bystronic stands for Swiss quality.
Sorry.
Really?
Swiss quality. I mean, it's a bit of a cliche, isn't it? And actually, while we're at it, your slogan, best choice, kind of sounds like we've just won the buzzword bingo.
Guys, if you want to sort this out, I'm just going to pop out for a smoke.
Let me explain. First of all, Swiss quality. Do you know the Bystar fibre? The Bytrans Cross or Biosoft? Have you ever seen them laser cutting and bending those sheets? It's like butter. Once you've seen it, you can't help but be excited. The beauty of a laser cut. The precision of a bent metal sheet, from very small to very large, but all with the precision of Swiss clockwork, perfectly formed and expertly fitted. Now, best choice. When you say yes to a partner, be it in business or private life, you make a commitment to the future. Bless you, Katie. Now, you're still young, but one day, you're going to want someone for the long run. Someone who shares your vision for the future. You see, at Bystronic, we think about tomorrow's sheet metal processing. We have some footage of that, right? In what we call the Smart Factory, variable orders will be produced automatically on flexible systems. A clear vision and state-of-the-art technology means cost and process optimization, which in turn means higher earnings. And who's behind this success? The employees of Bystronic worldwide. Now, you'll say that's just another cliche, but nobody else sets new standards like they do, with their enthusiasm, their ideas, and their know-how. Actually, I stand corrected, because our success is also due to our clients. It's their feedback that we use to develop new technologies. And until they are perfectly functioning, we will not launch them. And none of our employees will settle for less. Not in Asia, not in America, not in Europe, not in Switzerland, nowhere. And that's what we mean by best choice. I'm sorry, I think I interrupted you.
Did you record this?
Sorry, did he say something? I couldn't hear a word.
He says we're done.
Really? That looked like more words to me.
No, really, we're done. But you can stay here till 5 because it's in your contract.
Well, no, I'm more than happy to do another version. We'll just reach my agent later on. That's no problem. Gentlemen? Hello?